kind of makes it look like a zebra. It's actually the only known relative of the giraffe. We know that because they have very, very similar skull structures, almost exact. They do have a long prehensile tongue, just like what a giraffe would have, and that helps them pick leaves off the trees and the bushes. That okapi is actually one of the only animals to have a tongue long enough to lick its own eyeballs. Didn't even know that animal existed until 1901 as well, so we're still learning lots and lots about them. Coming up ahead here to our left, we're going to see a black rhino. That black rhino weighs about 3,000 pounds, can charge up to 35 miles an hour. Now, unfortunately, though, there are only about 5,000 of them left in the entire world. That's due to poaching. They're poached for their horns. Their horns contain keratin. That's the same thing that's in our fingernails and our hair, so it doesn't make quite much sense. It's super sad, though, because the only known predator to that animal is actually humans. Coming up ahead here, we're going to see some tan antelope. These are the greater kudu, one of the largest species of forest antelope. They'll grow to be about 750 pounds, stand about 5 feet at the shoulder. There's also some orange ones out there. Those are the bongo. The bongo are known as the ghost of the forest, and that's because they're rarely seen. And they do have those long spiraled horns on the tops of their heads, kind of tilted backwards like that. That's to help them move through the brush easily without being tangled. And they are bright orange, something they have to kind of help them with that camouflage, those white stripes. Breaks up their coloring. It's supposed to mimic the pattern of sunlight shining through the treetops. It's going to about sum up the forest for us. We're now going to head right around the corner here down into the Sabi River. The Sabi River is home to many river-dwelling animals. They like to hang out in the watering hole for a majority of their day. Coming up ahead here to our right-hand side, out by those logs in the water, there's a Nile hippopotamus. A hippo will grow to be about 5,500 pounds. They do spend a majority of their day like that in the water. They have super sensitive skin, so if exposed to the sun for too long, it'll start to dry and crack. At nighttime, though, they do like to come out on the shore to graze. They can also spend about 8 minutes at a time fully submerged underneath that water. They do sleep underwater, but instead of waking up every 8 minutes, their bodies will naturally bring them to the top. They'll take a little breath and go right back down without even waking up.
That's the baby one right there.
The white birds on the island are the pink-backed pelican. They get that name because during mating season, their backs do actually turn pink. And their wingspan is about 9 feet, which is equivalent to the canopy above our heads. A group of pelicans is known as a pod. A group of hippos is known as a float. Now, hippopotamus are also the most dangerous animals in Africa. Not because they want to eat you, they're actually vegetarians. They're just very territorial. But they're far more dangerous than the Nile crocodile we're going to see out here to our left. Those crocodiles will grow to be about 16 to 20 feet long and weigh about 500 pounds. A group of crocodiles have two different names. If they're on the shore, they're known as a basque, and if they're in the water, they're known as a flume. Now those crocodiles will also have a jaw strong enough to crush the bones of their prey, about 2,000 pounds per square inch in their bite. That's enough to take down an antelope, a zebra, even a full-grown lion. But the main component of their diet is actually just fish. Now to give you guys a bit better of an idea, crocodile is actually as long as a giraffe is tall. Some of you may have noticed they were kind of laying there with their mouths open. That's a way that they can regulate their body temperature. They can't sweat, so it's equivalent to how a dog would pant. They're just trying to release body heat that way. favorite animals, as well as a lot of migratory animals. The first ones we're going to see out here to our right hand side. Animal with super large horns. That's an Ankole cattle, also known as the Watusi cattle. They were given that name by the Watusi tribe, who were the first people to domesticate them. They're actually the only domesticated animals on the reserve. Now, those horns look pretty heavy. They're actually rather light. They only weigh a few pounds apiece, and that's because they're hollow on the inside. With a honeycomb structure, they circulate blood throughout them during the day to stay cool. There's also a couple giraffes out here to our right, kind of scattered around the savannah. There's about 9 different species of giraffes here at Disney World. We have 2. The Maasai giraffe that we're going to see out here today, as well as reticulated giraffes over at Animal Kingdom Lodge. We're going to talk a little bit more about them once we get a little closer here in just a few minutes. Out here to our left-hand side, though, we are going to see a pack of African wild dogs, also known as the painted dogs. They get that name because of all that coloration on their fur. They're one of the best hunters in Africa. They'll often chase their prey till exhaustion. And they do hunt in packs, that's why they're so successful. They actually have about a 90% success rate. That means 9 out of 10 hunts they're successful. Lions are only successful about 1 out of 15. Now, they do look like normal dogs, but they're very different. They only have 4 toes, and instead of barking, they make a high-pitched whistling sound. They almost sound like little squeaky toys. I'm going to see those giraffes a little closer here, coming up on either side of our truck. Like I said, these are the Maasai giraffe. Spots that we see on them are as unique as a human's fingerprint. No 2 giraffes have the same set of spots. Full-grown male is about 18 to 20 feet tall. A female is about 14 to 16, and then a newborn calf is about 6 feet tall when they're born. Female giraffes to give birth in a standing up position, and that would mean that a newborn would have a 6-foot fall to the ground. But despite that, they'll be up and running in the first hour of their lives. Giraffes also have a super long tongue, about 18 inches long, and it's a dark purplish black color. It's actually that way so it doesn't get sunburned during the day. They literally spend all day long eating. They only have about 30 minutes of an entire 24-hour period to sleep. And of that 30 minutes, they only take tiny power naps, so maybe a few minutes at a time. There to our right hand side. Those are the white bearded wildebeest. About 1.5 million of them migrate over the savannah each year for hundreds of thousands of miles. Most active at nighttime. That's when they do a lot of their eating, bathing, and also giving birth. They feel more comfortable in the darkness of the night, but a baby wildebeest will be up and running in the first 15 minutes. Coming up ahead here in this tall grass, there's some antelope with a reddish-brown coat. Those are the sable antelope, super aggressive animals. In a fight or flight situation, almost always choose to fight no matter who they're up against. Long horns in their head, they're actually deterrent to lions, and that means if a lion were to try and jump on that animal's back, they'd be stabbed by those horns. Those tiny little guys all the way out there, those are the Springbok, one of the smallest species of antelope. Actually only grow to be about 2 to 3 feet tall like that, so they're fully grown. They're also in the top 10 fastest land animals in the world, reaching speeds up to 60 miles an hour, which puts them at the second fastest. The only thing faster than them is actually a cheetah. super popular in Africa as well. A lot of their sports teams are actually named after them. Here to our right hand side, we are going to see Africa's largest animal, the African elephant. Those elephants weigh anywhere from about 10,000 to 14,000 pounds, depending on if it is a male or a female. Now we can assume that those are male, and we know that because they're out there all by themselves. Male elephants will often stay secluded from their herds, and they kind of get kicked out by the females after they have babies. They can get really, really aggressive toward little ones, so safer to have them on their own like that. You guys can also notice they're kind of flapping their ears back and forth. That's a way that they can stay cool during the day. It circulates blood throughout their bodies and just kind of fans and cools off their outer skin as well. The road there's closed, has been for quite some time. Been taking a little detour here over another bridge. It's pretty old. There's a few weird sounds, but put them on, no worries. Warden comes out, checks it for us every single morning. Elephants nearby. Elephants get a lot of nutrition from that clay, vitamins, minerals, things like that that they need to stay healthy. The cool thing about them, they're actually dominantly tusked. That means that we have a dominant right or left hand. They have a dominant right or left tusk. We usually know which one's dominant because it'll be longer than the other. Once we get a little closer here around the corner, you guys will be able to tell that they do look a little dirty. That's because during the day they kick up sand, dirt, mud, anything really onto their backs. They use it as a natural sunscreen. Just like humans, elephants can get sunburned too. Unfortunately though, elephants are another animal that is targeted by poachers. They're targeted for their tusks. Their tusks contain ivory, which is a very, very high value on the black market. About 96 elephants a day are killed due to poaching. That's one elephant every 15 minutes. Super sad because it's nearly impossible for us to try and even get them off of that endangered list. That's because a female elephant's gestation period is about 22 months. It's 2 years that she's pregnant. She can really only carry one baby at a time, and that's because when they're born, they weigh around 300 pounds. Coming up ahead here on the island, we're going to see a group of greater flamingo. They're the largest, tallest, and lightest shade of pink. They're actually born gray, so they get that color from their diet. They eat a lot of brine shrimp that contains beta-carotene, which is just a fancy way of saying they eat really tiny shrimp, make them pink. But a group of flamingos is known as a flamboyance. And that flamboyance is pretty small. They usually travel in groups of about 30,000. Put out here to our left should indicate indicate there might be some rhinos nearby. Rhinos kind of use that clay like the elephants would use these sand in the dirt. They roll around in there during the day to protect their skin, keep them cool, and also keep the bugs away from them. Up here to our right hand side, up there at the top of the hill, there's some water buck up there. Those water buck have a long shaggy coat, almost hair-like, and they secrete a stinky oily liquid from their skin. Kind of waterproofs that coat because they do spend a majority of their time in the water. They don't want to be weighed down. Out here to our left hand side, we're going to see some cheetahs out here. Fastest land animals in the world, reaching speeds up to 70 miles an hour. They can only keep that speed though for a few seconds, usually when they're chasing after their prey. They're one of the smallest cats in the cat family. They do like to hunt during the day, which is pretty rare. But something they have to kind of help them do that are these teardrop black shapes around their eyes. It serves as a natural eye black for them, just like what a football player would use. Coming up ahead here, we're going to see a much larger cat in the cat family, the lions. A group of lions is known as a lion pride, only usually consists of one male, the rest female. Now the older a male will get, the darker his mane will actually get. That's often kind of how they choose their alpha male. Pretty awesome. We can even see lions out right now. They do spend about 20 out of 24 hours of the day sleeping. They're most active at nighttime. That's when they do a lot of their hunting. And the females do a majority of it. The males stay at home and they watch over the cubs. Now they like to hunt during the nighttime hours, and that's because during the day we have equivalent eyesight with them. But at nighttime theirs is actually 6 times greater than ours. Fun fact about those lions, we can actually hear their roar up to 5 miles away. Out here to our left-hand side, we're going to see the world's largest burrowing animal, the warthogs. Those warthogs have razor-sharp tusks in the front of their face, and that's their main form of defense. They do have a second set of tusks right above those. That's what they use to burrow. Now, we probably only know one warthog. His name is Pumbaa. Pumbaa is actually Swahili for foolish, so that's how he got his name. Some eggs here to our right underneath the tree. Those are a group of ostrich eggs. Weigh about 3 pounds a piece, which is equivalent to 2 dozen chicken eggs. Shell in those eggs is so strong that a 250-pound person can stand straight on top and they wouldn't break. They have to be pretty strong though. Both male and female ostrich will incubate their eggs, which means they'll sit on top. An ostrich can weigh anywhere from about 250 to 350 pounds. Now we didn't see any ostrich out here today, but I'll still tell you a little bit about them. They're the largest birds in the world. They do have wings, but they do not fly. They actually just use those wings to change direction when they're running. Top speed, they can run about 40 miles an hour. Now, a lot of people believe that they bury their heads when they are scared, but that is not true. They actually just lie their heads very close to the ground to give the illusion that it is buried. Because in their brains, if they cannot see the predator, predator cannot see them. Laying up here to our left-hand side, we're going to see a pretty cool antelope. That's a Scimitar horned Oryx. Native to the deserts of Chad, You can actually go 9 months without a single drink of water. Won't even sweat till his body temperature reaches 115 degrees. Now they get that name because those long horns. They kind of look like swords, but they're not very sword-like at all. They are very, very brittle. If they ever broke, they would actually never grow back. That is going to about sum up our adventure out here on the Harambe Wildlife Preserve. If y'all like to check out some more animals, right next door we do have the Gorilla Bulls Trail. Out there you guys can check out some gorillas, zebras, meerkats, and get mole rats, hissing cockroaches, even an underwater view of those hippos. Or if you want to travel all the way over to Asia, you can go and check out some tigers, Komodo dragons, things like that on their walking trail. Or if you want to hang out with us in Africa for a little longer, we do have the Festival of the Lion King show, which is pretty awesome. That's going to be every hour on the hour up until 6 o'clock tonight. But now that we're about back at the village, I'm going to ask you guys, please double check your robes. Make sure you have everything you came with. We don't want you to forget anything behind. And this does mean that our adventure here in Harambe has officially come to an end. We don't like goodbyes, they're far too sad, far too final, so instead we say Kwaherini. Kwaherini is a Swahili term that means to go well. So Kwaherini guys, have a wild rest of your day here at Disney's Animal Kingdom.